Hello, welcome back. I am Oblivion Cubed, and today we are we are returning. Now that I stumble over my words, with Reap by Spencer Campbell. This is one I'm very excited to be able to sit down with finally. I've actually had this for a couple of days now, but my weekend decided to have, I don't know, a foot and a half of snow dump on it. So it's been fun times up here in Saskatchewan. All that said, though, we're going to get into Reap today. Now, I am also going to be using a combat grid. So this combat grid is not actually from Reap. It is from another game using the same rule set called Rig. I've played this on my blog before, and I'll probably play it on channel here as well. But for right now, just know that the grid, at least, is printed out of the Rig booklet. Everything else, though, is going to be from Reap here. So Reap is, again, a solo RPG. It is a you play as a necromancer, right? And here, let's read it. You're a necromancer. You are a necromancer, known as a reaper. For countless years, you've straddled the line between life and death. Your mastery of those realms is unparalleled, and so you wander in search of new power. The world of Oberon was shattered long ago, and now it gasps its final breath. You will navigate realms, small domains of this dying world. At the heart of each domain sits a horror, a being whose soul can feed you, sustain you for just a moment longer. Wander the realms, Reaper. Seek the horrors, and reap their souls from them. Bind them to you, and embrace immortality. Which just sounds amazing, doesn't it? Come on. So this game is a successor? No, that's not the right word. It's built on the rune system by GilaRPGs. Gila? I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. If you know how to pronounce it, tell me. But Spencer Campbell is the main brain behind the GilaRPGs, and made Rune and Reap. These are both described as being sort of Souls-like in a way, and the vast majority of the game, or at least of the combat, revolves on a 5x5 grid, which is why I printed this out of Rig and why I'm going to use it today. It just makes things a lot easier. I could, of course, use the other side of my ChessX mat, I think. Yeah. But I'm not gonna bother flipping that over for this. We're gonna stick with this. And the idea is basically that when it comes to combat, right, this is a pretty good depiction of it here. Sorry, I see that there's a little glare on this, but that's just, we're going to have to suffer with that. So what we've got here is the Reaper, right, that's us. Difficult terrain, permanent terrain, and then cultist enemies. So yeah, it's all fairly straightforward. Along with the combat, there is a point crawl aspect to this. Once we have our character all set up, we're going to explore the first area, Kyrie, which has, 8 points and a horror at one of them. I printed this off just so we had something to reference. There is also a couple of clock mechanics, which you might be familiar with if you've played things like Starforged, Blades in the Dark. I'm sure there's a ton of things with clocks in them. Those are the two that come to mind for me, though. So as we go through, we will increment the clock and then various things will happen. I think it mostly has to do with the horror at the end in the last fight. But I guess we'll kind of see that together. Also, I just want to point out, like, look at that cover art. Isn't that brilliant? I don't know who did the Eddie York, EYORKE.com. That's fantastic. Great job. All of the art in here is fantastic. Very thematic. I really, really like it. But yeah, as I was saying, there's a point crawl mechanic to it, and there's several different things that you can do at the different points. You can do a fight, of course. You can search the point if it mentions it, and you can delve in the point if it mentions it, I believe, are the different things you can do. Let me just double check. Yeah. Yeah, learn, delve, fight, search. So things that have a fight action in them, you have to do the fight. As I understand it, when I was reading the rules here, and I'm probably going to get this wrong, okay? Caveat being that I've read these rules twice now, and both times my 3 and my 5-year-old were very eagerly talking about other things. So I'm gonna have missed stuff. we're gonna go through this journey together. I did also print off these spell cards and stuff like that. It's gonna be handy to have them. You don't have to if you prefer some other method of keeping track of what spells and equipment you have. I just thought it would be easier to do it this way. And yeah, so the last thing that I'll say before we actually kind of get into setting this up is that you can grab this at, I believe, GilaRPGs.itch.io. But you can also go to GilaRPGs.com or just check them out on Twitter. I believe he's also got a Blue Sky. If you search for his name on Blue Sky, you can find him there. He's got a lot of stuff that he's done. It's all really cool. So definitely check it out if this looks neat to you. I'm not going to read you the whole rule set. It's long, first of all. Longer than I want to do in a video like this. There are others who have done a read through, and if you're interested in that, go ahead and find them. Or you can check out the PDF on the itch page. I will tell you that this is designed to be a solo game, and as such, we're just gonna kind of go through it. There's not a lot of story built into this besides what we kind of read at the start, right? We're Reaper, the world is already dead essentially, and it's kind of doing its final little kicks. We'll need for this 5 6-sided dice, 5x5 battle grid, and some tokens. Also, so if you've played Rune before, it mentions here that this differs a little bit from Rune in that combat favors the player, and the way that I've seen that work, at least in Rig, is that we typically move first. If I remember right. We'll get to that though in combat. It feels almost like you're cheating the first couple times that you do it. It's gonna ramp up in difficulty. So trust me on that. Even with it being in your favor, you can fail. You pull viscera from the corpses of your enemies in order to fuel your spells. right? So body, blood, and bone, I believe, is the different types of viscera. There's realm clocks, and with Reap and Rune, these are both designed. You don't have levels, right, on your character sheet. You are a amalgamation of your kit, right? So whatever spells you pick, the weapon you have, and the relic you have is what differentiates your character. With that said, I think what we'll do is jump in and kind of start. I'm going to reference this a lot because, like I said, I was very distracted while I was reading this the first two times. So bear with me as I do that. I am also going to just pause this for a second because I realize I totally forgot to cut out all these spells. So I'm going to cut out the ones that I think are going to be relevant to me, and then we'll be back to look at what kind of minis we pick for our Reaper. I've got a few that are unfortunately unpainted. I'm not much of a painter, but I've got a buddy that is has a 3D printer and loves it, so he's given me a bunch of minis, and we're going to pick one of these four to be our guy. Like I said, though, I'll be right back as I deal with the thing that I forgot to do. Okay, and we're back. I did not cut up all of my... I didn't cut up all of them. I'll do that another time. But for today, I did grab out the ones that I think we're going to use. So every Reaper starts with a scythe, of course, because you're a Reaper. Why wouldn't you want a scythe? And then you get one relic and 2 spells. So I've picked Spectral Step, which move up to 3 spaces. Every enemy whose space you move into is haunted, which is mentioned here. They take +1 harm this round, and next round they can't move. And I believe move to an empty space on the grid. I'm not sure exactly what these icons mean. I think that means I spend body, and I'm not sure what that is. I will check. The other thing that I picked up, though, is Explode Corpse. So if I choose a corpse, and it explodes, dealing 2 harm to all adjacent enemies, and then I can boost it by spending Bone for 1 extra harm, or I can spend Blood for 1 health from each enemy killed. I assume that means with this spell, right? So anyone I kill with this spell ends up pumping up my health. So that's fantastic. And then I picked the Neophyte's Tome. And so that's very, very simply, I can expend a bone to block. I can expend a body to move. And I can spend a viscera or blood to heal 1. So all pretty straightforward, I think. And these all, you may have noticed, these are double-sided. There are soul forms to the various things that we have, typically, right? Spells, at least. Relics don't have the same. This is just a different relic on the back, but I figured I'd keep the trend rather than having that a single piece of paper for no reason. But yeah, these have a soul form on the back, and they each do different things. So we'll get to that eventually, I'm sure. All right, so with that, I think what we're going to do is we're going to pick a mini out of the 4, and then we're gonna get into exploring this first realm. So I took a moment to just mark a couple of pages that are more important that I think we're going to get some use out of. And yeah, so each Reaper begins with 10 health. You begin with 2 stamina, you have 0 lore, and no viscera of any kind. And then, of course, we have our weapons and so forth. So I'm just going to kind of set these here for right now, and let's take a look at these little minis that I have. So I have no idea where my friend got these, but they're super cool. So there's this guy first. None of them actually have a scythe, but that's okay. This is make-believe. We can do that, right? So that's the first one. The second one is in more of an action pose, right? So he looks really cool. This one looks more, I guess, like scythe-like in a way, right? He's got the chain coming off and then the flames. That's a high contender, I think. I also just like this guy for like the attitude that he's got. Like, look at that. That's so cool. And then his flaming scythe comes down, or flaming mace, I guess, kind of comes down the back here. Very cool. I like this guy as well. And then lastly, we've got this dude. He is also super cool. And actually, his cloak, I think these 3 are technically all the same person, the same creature guy. Just in different poses. Yeah, I think that's what he did. Very cool. I think we're going to go with maybe this one. Yeah, I think we're going to go with this one. That's going to be our Reaper. So I'm going to set the other guys aside. I've got some other random things that we'll take out when it becomes time for that. But for now, we'll set him, I don't know, precariously on top of the dice. Why not? And then, so we're going to be going with the realm that is included in the main booklet. There is extra content that you can download and print and play and all that good jazz. But the example area that is included in the actual book itself is Kyrie, and that's what we're going to go with. So we've made our Nameless Reaper, we've got this, and we've got our combat grid. So the way that this works is, as we explore, right, the goal is to take out the horror in this chunk of this land. Which actually we can kind of read that here. So this says, "A foul beast has twisted the faith of this island. It holds court in the church and has spread its influence across the land. Attune the vessel so that you may reap its soul and cut its song short." So that is this clock here. The vessel will, we will increase the slices on the vessel clock whenever we win a fight, which is repeatable, when we learn the horror's name, which you can only do once, when we reach lore 2 or higher, which we can only do once, and when we have 5 viscera carried at any one time, again, only do once. So, of course, we can do these 3, and then we have to win 3 fights. That's non-negotiable. While we're doing that, we're also ticking forward the clocks for the realm itself. And each time these fill, something probably terrible happens. It'll mention that here. So the realm has 3 clocks, each with 6 segments. Whenever you move to a point or mark any action at a point, mark a segment of the current clock. When it's filled, we get to read one of these. Now, I'm not going to actually read those right now because I want to be surprised. And then after that, it gets into the point crawl areas, which, you know what? Excuse my reach here. I'm just going to grab another piece of scrap paper from cutting those out and stick this here so that we have it. Excellent. So, we begin at number 1. Now, the important thing that we kind of read there is, of course, that anytime we take an action at any of the areas, we're going to be incrementing this clock. And most of these points have multiple actions. So it's a risk reward situation here, right? Where we can push our luck, but it's going to mean that we're going to fill up to this third clock faster. And I believe that as we fill clocks, the horror gets stronger, which of course we don't want. So we have to balance our greed and curiosity with pragmatism and do what we need to do quickly. So with that said, let's kind of get into it. Right, so we are on this little island, and we are at number 1, the anchor. As you step through the veil, anchoring yourself to this realm, you find a stone obelisk sitting before you. A powerful source of life and death energy haunts this island. Your hunt starts now. So we could search. The corpse of one of the residents of this land leans against the altar. They won't be needing their parts, so you salvage what you can. Choose one viscera to reap from the corpse. Bone, body, or blood. So I think we will take them up on that offer, and we will go ahead and let's take, well, I know we don't need bone for very much, besides our relic. Oh no, you know what? Actually, we do need it for more than I thought. So let's grab bone. Let's take 1 bone, and let's add to a clock, completing any action at a point. I assume that searching is an action. Yeah, I assume that that's the case. I'm pretty sure I've read that correctly. So from here, we could go to the town. We could come to, this looks like a lake. We could go to some other town, and that's it from our current vantage point. So what I think we will do, let's move down to let's move down to 5. Let's not overthink it too much. Let's go to 5 and let's see what happens. So we're going to move to 5, and we're going to increase the realm clock again. And let's pop over to 5 and see what we get. So the forest. The dense forest of this realm is teeming with life. It grows unnaturally as is responding to your presence. Special rule, this fight cannot be ignored. Once you enter this point, you must complete this fight if it has not already been marked. Okay, so this is a perfect starting fight. It's weird that it mentions that it cannot be ignored. As I understand it from the rules, when you get a fight, you have to do it first. I believe it says that here, right? If a point has a fight action, you must complete it first before you can attempt any other actions at the point, unless stated otherwise. So maybe unless stated otherwise is doing a lot of heavy lifting in this. Because yeah, that seems like something that is implied by the other rules, but maybe I just haven't seen enough realms yet. So, fight. The canopy above shields you from the bright sun as you wander the forest. However, a wave of heat warns you of a roaring fire nearby. Terrain. There are permanent terrain items in A1 to A5, E1 to 5, and then there are enemies in B2, C2, D2, and Reaper is in C5. Okay, so we're going to set up the grid. Yeah, we're going to set up the grid. 1 second, and let's do that. So okay, A1 to 5, it said is permanent. I don't know if I have enough of these little printouts from Rig. So you know what I'll do is I'm just going to space it between, I'll space it between these and we'll just know that that's what it means. This and this, right? So these are all a permanent yeah, maybe we'll do it like that. Just kind of get like that. So these entire sections are off bounds. And then they said, what was it? We have 3 Ashborn enemies in B2, C2, and D2. And Reaper is in C5. Okay. Easy enough. Now they don't give us printouts of the enemy cards, at least in the booklet itself. There might be in the back rewards or in the digital files for this. So check, because I forgot to do that myself. If you pick this up, definitely you'll want to print the monster cards. Not a big deal for us though. So we need 3 cultists. So I'll be back in just 1 second here. I've got my handy dandy Amazon box full of random things that my buddy printed out. And we'll pick kind of just at random. We'll take this guy. And we'll take cool little kobold dude. And we will take kind of dragonborn-y guy. Okay. And then, of course, our Reaper. So the way that the combat works, I was incorrect when I said before that we move first. We don't. We move second. These guys are going to move first, and they're going to choose their actions before they move, and then we're going to respond to that. Also, so with Rig, Rune, Reap, an enemy can occupy the same square as us, right? And that is considered same. So on some enemy cards and in some of the rules, it's going to say same, or it's going to say range of 0. And what that's going to mean is that they are on the same square as you. If it's 1, then they are here, right? If it's 2, they're back here. The whole game is played strictly orthogonally, right? So you can only attack to the left, right, up, or down. There's no diagonals. So if he was standing here, my Reaper cannot hit him without moving, right? So it's actually really, really simple. It's really intuitive, and it plays really nicely, in my opinion. So what we're going to do is pop into combat. Now let's see. Do I have? I don't really have anything to write their health down on. 1 second, I'll be right back. All right, we're back. Handy dandy recipe card. So we've got Ashbourne, right? They've got 4 health. They have a range of 0 and 1. And on the various die rolls, they can do the things that they do. They can move, they can harm, they can move, they can harm, they can burn themselves, they can move, they can harm themselves even, or harm me even more, and they can burn themselves again. Burn is they take 1 damage and they don't get to move next time. And when I kill them, I get body. So there are 3 of these. So what we'll do is we'll go A1, A2, and A3. We'll just jot that down so that we can keep track of their health, basically. Now, what I like to do in some of the other games that I do is I'll just put 4 little lines down for them, and then as I reduce them in health, we'll just erase these. And yeah, so on one of these, I remember earlier I had said that I wasn't sure what the skull means. That's just 1. I hadn't bothered to stop and look at an enemy card or a card of my own that has all 6 of the numbers, right? So pretty simple when you see it all all lined up. Okay, now the way the combat works is here, page 23 and page 24 of the book. Basically, we roll a d6 for each of them, and we see what they're going to do, because it is based on the dice. Then what we're going to do is we are going to move them, and then we resolve any non-damage actions, right? So if they get to summon anything or anything like that, we resolve that at that point. And then we move as well, right? Yeah. Then we determine our actions, we move, and then everybody deals harm. The enemies deal their harm if they're able, and let's see. Add up all of the incoming harm and subtract it from your health. If there are any dead enemies in your space, so assign stamina dice to a weapon or spell and resolve the listed actions. Okay, so this varies slightly from, this plays slightly different than Rig does, in that we choose what they're going to do, we move them, we resolve any summons, and then we choose what we're going to do, we move us, and we deal harm, and then they deal harm afterwards. That's fairly straightforward. I like it. So what we're going to do is, it would be really nice if I had just 1 extra. No, actually, you know what? I have exactly the perfect number of dice. So we're going to go with this is this guy, this is the middle, and yeah, I mean, and then my 2, because I've got 2 stamina, we'll have here. So let's see what we do. So I can't remember what order I just said they were in, but whatever. This guy's going to be 2. So he's going to move 1 and harm if he can, but since he can't really reach us unless we move in towards him. This guy's going to move 2 And then this guy is going to also move 1. Okay. Well, that's easy enough. So we're going to move him up. We're going to move this guy straight up to us. We're going to move this guy to us. We're going to move that guy there. And then, now we've got 2 stamina, right? And so each time we want to use our stamina, and then we're going to assign that die to something on our sheet. And hopefully we will end up hurting people. As I understand it, if we, and you might want to check on the rules in this, but I think if I get like a 2 and a 3, for example, I believe I can do this twice. I can use my move and harm attack twice. I could be wrong about that. I'll read it again later, but let's see what happens. So, hey, look, look at that. So the exact scenario that I was just talking about. So we've got a 2 and a 3. Let's take a look through the other things that we have, right? Because I don't think that we have a lot that we can do. So we've got Spectral Step. So we could jump up to 3 spaces away. So that would be like 1, 2, 3. I believe we could jump into his space and they would take +1 harm this round. And then next round they can't move. That would be the same as this guy. Up to 3 spaces. So that is a valid option. We could use our scythe. We could choose to burn our bone to block an incoming attack. I don't think we're going to do that right now. Or we could, oh, yeah, this would be a cool one. Unfortunately, we didn't get a 1. We didn't get a 1, so we can't move to an adjacent, or we can't move to an empty space. Every enemy whose space you move into is haunted. Move up to 3 spaces. You know what? Maybe that means that we could move here and then deal 2 harm to everybody if we were to burn our only bone so far. I don't think, I don't think we're going to do that. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to instead, what we'll do is we will occupy the same space as our friend here. So we are both technically in D3. And what we'll do is then we will spend, so that was 3, and then with dice 2, we'll do harm 1. I don't believe that we have to move. If we get move 1, I think that's optional. So, oh no, wait, range is 1, so it's not the same. Actually, that works pretty good. So we stepped into that space. They are haunted. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use our move 1 to step backwards, essentially. Oh, you know what though? It would be really, really smart if instead we flipped around to this side. So we came to his same grid space. We're going to come behind him. So he's haunted, which means he's going to lose, or he's going to take +1 harm this round. We're going to hit him. We're going to hit him with Scythe, which is harm 1, which means we're going to take 2 off of, we're going to take 2 off of his HP. Right, and now, because we did this, right, we invalidated this guy's action entirely. So he moved towards us and we bamf out, in a puff of smoke and appear in this guy's space, kind of step out behind him and slice him through with our scythe. This guy didn't really get a chance to do anything. Which brings us, I believe, back to the top of the round, basically. So, yeah, excellent, cool. We're gonna do that again. So this time, red dice guy is gonna be him, right? So again, he got 1, so he can move. We got 2 for this little dude, and we got 4 for this guy. I can't remember if I don't think this guy burned last time, so we're going to take that off of him. Unless, wait a minute, let's just take a look at the rule, or look at that page again, because what move 1, harm 3, burn. Take 1 harm the next round if you do not move. Okay, if... I'm going to change that to an if not move. Okay, cool. Okay, that's useful. I'm glad I double checked that. Okay, so this guy can move 1. We're going to move him back. This guy can also only move 1. So we're going to move him back. And this guy can move 2 and do harm of 1. So he is perfectly fine where he is right now. But we'll move him into my space because he can have 0. So he can be in the same space and still have that working. I'm going to put a B here so that I know if he doesn't move, he's going to take a damage. And I'm going to give this guy back his health because I was mistaken about how that worked. So, okay, so that's what they're going to do. They've moved. We don't have any non-damaging actions that we can do for them. And then, let's see. So I've got a 1 and a 2. Good gracious. Okay, so with a 1, I think literally the only thing that I can do, because I didn't pick anything else that had a single die, on a 1, I move to any empty space on the grid. And then with a 2, yeah, the only thing that I can really do is use Scythe. So I guess what we'll do is let's... Okay, I don't want to take damage if I can avoid it, right? So I guess let's bamf back to here and then just... But then I'm not dealing damage either. You know, okay, let's go here. And I'm going to take a damage and leave a damage, right? So we're going to use 2 to take him, and we're going to give him 1 more health, taken away. Our health now on my sheet, which is probably just slightly out of your vision. Yeah, we'll kind of push this over. My health has gone down to 9 now, so you know what? I can use ticks for this too. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and it was at 10, but now we're at 9. So, yeah, okay, cool. Cool. I think that's kind of the best that I can do. Let's roll some more. So we've got 4 for him, 3 for him, and 2 for our Dragonborn guy. Okay, so Dragonborn has to move, right? Our Ashborn dragon has to move, or else he's going to take burn and he's going to die. Last time I had moved into his space, but that didn't apply really, so that didn't actually matter. So he can still move, is what I was thinking. Yeah. Okay, so I can't force him to not move. That would have been handy. But okay, so this guy can move too. So he's going to come. He's going to go doot doot, and we're going to come up to here. This dude can also move too. So he can't hit me because we've got too little stuff or too much stuff in the way. So we'll just kind of push him here, I guess, because I mean the default is that they want to take me out. This guy can move 1 and harm 1. Now he does have burn applied to him if he doesn't move. Do I assume that now this is a question. Do I assume that he is smart enough to move instead of self-immolating? Because I mean, I, as a player, want him not to move and to die. But as the GM as well, I feel like tactically he would know that, right? He would take the 1 and move. Which technically would give this guy the ability to move into that space. I don't know if that's per the rules that he can be the second in initiative, quote unquote, which they don't have, and then still move afterwards. I'm going to say that it makes the most sense. Okay, so I think that's the grid I think that's what we've got right there. So if they can, they are all going to try to take me out. So burn no longer applies to these guys, or that one, but it does apply to this one and apply to this one. Let's see what our dice say about that little situation. So, 2 6s. Very cool. Okay. So, you know what? Maybe not very cool. Can I move through an enemy's space? That is the question that I have right now. I think it might tell me in here. Can include movements, blocking and healing, dealing harm. Let's see. Move enemies furthest from you first, choosing the order if there are multiples at the same distance, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it doesn't say in 5 seconds of looking. So I'm going to assume that I can get into the space, but I can't pass through it, right? They're not letting me just like waltz past. However, because I have a range of 1, I think I could cheese that. So I think we can come into this guy's space, right? So we're in D2, And I think what we can say is that our scythe, because we're in this space, reaches him, which means we can kill him with one of our dice, right? So he is down. Bloop. So, this guy's right in front of us, but we reach around and we give him the old scythe and take this guy out, which means that he is done. And that, let's see. Then what we could do is we could use Exploding Corpse, right? I could use Exploding Corpse and burn my bone to do extra harm to this guy. But you know what? That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. That's not tactically advantageous for us. So let's just undo that. We're going to rewind time. We're going to leave him where he is, and we're just going to take, I guess, we got 2 6s. We're going to take 2 swings at this guy, and we're going to drop him. So this guy's dead. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. So A3 comes back to life. He's got 1 health, which is what he had before. A2 is dead. So we're taking him off the board entirely, which is this dice. So we're going to get that out of here. And then we can finally do our other neat mechanic here, which is we can reap. So he is adjacent to us. We may reap them for Viscera, or the enemy card determines what type of Viscera can be reaped. Remove the bodies after doing so. So we could either, this brings us to a point where we could either explode a corpse next turn, or we could reap it for body parts now. I think I'm going to reap this guy. We're going to take a body. We're going to take 1, and we're going to poof him off the game board. Okay. Cool. We're actually doing pretty okay here so far. Now, this guy did get to move, and he is within range, so he's going to deal a damage to us now that we've taken out one of his friendlies. So we're at 8 health now. Not a big deal. I think we can work with that. So cool. Okay, so 2v2. So fire guy and dragon guy. So we got a 4 and a 2. So this guy can move 2. Now he had burn on him before, so if he doesn't move, he's going to take 1. He's going to take 1 damage. Now, and this guy can move 1, which he's going to move to come closer to us, I think. Now, last time I said that this guy was smart enough to move. We're going to take... Oh, no, wait. He's still going to have burn applied to him because he's 4. So I'm going to let them keep me pinned. I'm going to say that this guy believes it to be more useful to hurt me than it does to stop himself from being hurt, right? He's a fanatic after all. Okay. So that's what they're going to do. Let's find out what we're going to do. A 6 and a 5. Now, I don't know if I explained this before. The order, unlike some of the other games that I play, like 2d6 Dungeons and stuff like that, which one is the primary doesn't matter for us. I can take this 6 and assign it to whatever I want. I can take the 5 and assign it to whatever I want. If I if I did not explain that before, that is the case. So now, with that said, we've got a move 2 and a... Oh, okay, yeah. That's wonderful. Okay, so I think what we're going to do... one second. I just want to see what point the non-harm actions... Recovering health and more. Including summoning another enemy. Okay. Yeah, okay. So he'll take burn damage at the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Spectral Step. We're going to burn our 5 for Spectral Step. We're going to jump into his space, which is going to make him take +1 harm. Right? And then we're going to use our 6 for our Scythe. So poof, we come into his space. We give him a good slice with the Scythe, and that's going to drop him to 1 health, right? 1 plus 2, so we're going to take 3 of his health away. He had burn before, so he's going to take that 1, and he's going to die. And we've managed to avoid a space where this guy can hit us, so... That's perfect. We're going to reap body again. So we will have 2 body now. I think we'll keep going with ticks like that. And now it's just down to me and him. That's perfect. All right, so let's see what he's going to do. 4. He's going to move 2. So I think he's going to just come over here. Now he's got burn applied to him, so no matter what, if he doesn't move next turn, he's done. But he's not going to last that long. There's no way, right? So we got a 2 and a 5, doesn't even matter. Yeah, we're just going to scythe him down. We're going to hit him with the Scythe. Take him out, reap 1 more body. So we've got 4 Viscera total so far, which is not quite enough to fill one of our clock segments for the vessel. But we did manage to finish our first combat, and that is pretty cool. Now, with that said, that does, of course, also increment our clock, because we have completed an action, which was raffle stomping those creatures. And we took 2 health damage, which is not a big deal, but it is something that we'll have to consider. And yeah, perfect. So that was us on 5. Hey. Okay, so let's just note this. We went to 1 and then 5, and we had a fight, and now we've got the option to go to 7, 8, or 2. But you know what? I am sitting in an hour, so I think what we'll do is we'll cut here, and we'll come back another time to look at more of this. This does give you a pretty good idea, though, of what this game is like. This is really fun. This is really, really cool. I don't know if if I was good at showing my enthusiasm for this. This is really cool. I love the ability to use Spectral Step to kind of bamf around the battlefield and cut people down without taking much harm. These are I picked these spells kind of at random. I wasn't putting a lot of thought into which ones I grabbed. I was like, oh, that sounds cool, exploding corpses and spectral steps where I can kind of bamf around. I like this so far. I really like this so far. I like the grid-based combat. I think for a miniature tactical kind of war game kind of thing, it's really, really fun. I like it. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. This was really, really fun. I will definitely be doing more of this. Whether or not I record it, I don't know. If you want to see more of this, let me know, and I will record more of it. I'm definitely going to play the rest of this land. And you know what? I think I will record the rest of this area, no matter what. So we'll get through all of this together, and then whether or not we do anything extra after that will be up to viewer demand. If people are interested in that, then awesome. If you would have done something differently in the tactical aspects of it, let me know. If you want me to describe the battles with more description, I guess, let me know. I'm happy to do that. I can put on my D&D DM hat for a minute and telecast the battle a little bit better than I did today. But for a first look, I really, really enjoyed this. Yeah, this is really cool. I have nothing but good things to say about this. I think I haven't played Rune, but having played both Rig and Reap, I'm almost certainly going to be picking up Rune. This is a really fun system. I think as well. Now there's no official rules for this, but I think if you had somebody else that wanted to play as the opposing force, I think that there's a lot of room for co-op ability in this game. I don't know that you could have 3 or 4 players, but I definitely think you could have 2. And you could have somebody run the bad guys and then you running yourself. And I think that would add a lot of tension to the way that the game plays. Not to say that it isn't wonderfully fun as is. I'm always looking for things, as a father of 2 for now. It's something that I'm always looking at is whether or not I could drag my 5-year-old into playing something like this. And I think you definitely could. So if that's something that you're interested in as like a solo or co-opable RPG, I know he hasn't, to the best of my knowledge, he has not said that this is co-opable. I believe it totally is. I think you could have a lot of fun having somebody else run the enemies. So definitely don't pass on it just because of the fact that maybe you want to do 2-player things. I think you could do that in this. Yeah, I'm really excited to get back to this. The next thing that we'll probably have on the channel here is a return to the Pocket Hex. We'll probably be playing a little bit of that. We'll play some more of this, and we'll look at some more itch games relatively soon. So, as always, until next time, happy gaming.